So you're out on the trail and you get a flat. You replace the tube, and now you want to get back rolling. So how do you get air back into this big boy? Do you use a traditional bike pump, or do you use a CO2 inflator? Let's find out which one's better. As you can see, this tire is pretty flat. I did actually put my tire gauge on it, and it came out at 0 psi. This is a 4.8 V snow avalanche, so it's going to take an awful lot of air to fill this tire. So let's try the pump first. This particular pump is good for both Presta and Schrader type bike valves. In the end, you have the hose. You pull it out. Depend upon what type of valve stem you have, depends upon which end you screw into this end of the pump. This one. So when that's screwed in there, you make sure that your valve is ready. You put the hose down over the valve stem. You screw this on and you start pumping. Now this particular pump has a 4-inch stroke, so there's not a heck of a lot of air going to go into the tire at each stroke, so I'm not sure exactly how many pumps it's going to take to fill up the tire. So what I'll do is I'll just start pumping, and when I get to 5 psi, I'll stop. $496, $497, $498, $499, $500. So let's check the pressure. The tire feels pretty firm. Let's put the gauge on. And we're looking at about 4.5 pounds of pressure for 500 strokes of the bike pump. So let's check the CO2 inflator. Okay, now the CO2 inflator. This particular one comes with a cover for the CO2 cartridge, so you can actually store it in your backpack or something. But I currently do not have a CO2 cartridge in this, so you unscrew the holder, and with this CO2 inflator, you have to put it in the off position, which is straight down like that. You take your CO2 cartridge and you screw it slowly into the head here, like that. I'm just going to take the casing and put over it. Tire is again down at 0 psi. This end here then screws on over your valve. Make sure you get a tight fit. Okay, now let's turn the lever and see what happens. Okay, the tire blew up pretty quickly. Before I checked the pressure, I squeezed the tire, and there's not a heck of a lot of air in there, so let's try some more CO2. Okay, that's all the CO2 in that cartridge. Now let's check the pressure. Okay, now let's take the tire gauge. Okay, it's reading around 1.5 psi. So, for one CO2 cartridge, you're actually going to get about 1.5 psi in your tire, but you're going to get it really quickly. So, what do we learn about the bike pump versus CO2 inflator? Well, with the bike pump, you're looking at about 5 minutes in order to get about 5 psi into the tire. That's a long while. With the CO2 inflator, well, you're going to put a full canister of CO2 into the tube in like mere seconds. But unfortunately, it's only going to be like 1.5 pounds of air, so you'll need a couple of cartridges. Is there a clear winner? Well, not really. It all depends. But for me, running 5-inch fat bike tires, I think I'll be going with the pump. primarily because it will never run out of pressure. But if I was using a 4-inch fat bike tire, or on a mountain bike, or on a road bike, the CO2 inflator might be the thing I'd want to use. So there you have it. Bike pump versus CO2 inflator. Thanks for watching.